All right, so this is section 8.2, slope of the line part 2. So today we're going to be calculating slope using a formula. So M stands for the slope. That's the variable used to represent slope every time, okay? So then we have, this is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So that's representing the change in y over the change in x. And it is always a minus in the formula. Every time it's a minus, okay? So we're gonna now today, yesterday we found the slope between 2 points on a graph. Today we're gonna find the slope between 2 coordinates just with the coordinates, no graph. All right, so if I were to label these, it kind of helps at first when you're putting them in the right order. So this would be x1, y1, x2, y2. So then if I put this in the formula, M, so this was the formula you just wrote down. So I'm gonna plug these numbers into the correct location. So I'm gonna take y2 minus y1. So that would be 1 minus 7 over x2 minus x1. So that is 9 minus 1. Okay, so then I'm going to start subtracting. So 1 minus 7 is negative 6 over 9 minus 1. It's 8. And then I need to simplify. So what does that simplify to? As a fraction. Let's see fractions. Negative 3/4. So this really isn't extremely difficult as long as you stay organized and know where to put your numbers, okay? So if we look at number 2, same thing, I'm going to label my points. I don't always do this, but once you get good at this, you won't have to do it, but at first it's probably helpful to. So M equals y2 minus y1, so that's 6 minus a negative 3. So this time we already had a negative with our y, so we have to also include that. And then the minus sign, this minus sign is from the formula, and then this negative was already in our coordinate. And then x2 minus x1, so 4 minus a negative 2. Okay, so what happens when you minus a negative? You're adding. So this is really 6 plus 3. So 9 over 6. And then we need to simplify that, but we're not going to make it a mixed number. 3 over 2. So we don't want to make it 1.5. We want to just keep it 3 over 2. Okay. Number 3. I want you guys to try 3 and 4. So try number 3, and then we'll go over it, and then we'll do number 4 and go over it. Okay, so what did you put for the top part of your equation? Somebody. N equals -2 minus 0 over 2 minus 1. Okay, so the -2 minus 0 is -2 over 1. So you could also write that as just -2. Okay, and then for number 4, you guys already do this one? So M equals -2 minus 4 over -3 minus a -2. So that would be -6 over -1, which equals +6. Okay, so number 5 is a word problem. The table shows the volume of water released by Hoover Dam over a certain period of time. Use the data to make a graph, which is already done. Find the slope of the line and explain what it shows. So we have a graph. What kind of graph is that? A line, so it is linear. And we need to calculate the slope. So we're just gonna pick 2 points. So we could just use the first two. So this could be x1, y1, x2, y2, if we want it to be. And we're gonna calculate the slope. So M equals 150,000 minus 75,000 over 10 minus 5. So what did you guys get? 75,000 over 5, which would equal, what does that equal when you simplify it? 15,000. So this is talking about 15,000 meters cubed per second. What's that representing? What is that telling us about the dam? Yes, how much water is released every second when they open it, which is a lot. Okay. Number 6, the table shows the total cost of fruit per pound purchased at the grocery store. Use the data to make a graph and find the slope of the line and explain what it shows. So we're gonna make it like these are all positive numbers, so we can just graph in the first quadrant. What are they all multiples of? 5. So I would just make your numbers going up by 5, because they're all multiples of 5. And then you need to graph your points. Okay, so this graph is also linear, should be linear. And then we need to calculate the slope. So we can pick any 2 points. We could do like this point and this point. So my slope would be 30 minus 0 over 10 minus 0, which would just be 30 over 10, which is what? 3. What is 3 representing in the problem? Okay, so it's saying that fruit is $3 per pound is what that's saying. Okay. So this is the last thing here. So this is positive, negative, 0, and undefined slope. I want you guys to add this to it. So this is what I call a slope tree. This is a slope tree. So it's to help you try to remember what your slope looks like and what sign it should be. So if your slope's looking like this side of the tree, it's a positive slope. If your slope looks like this side of the tree going down, this is a negative slope. If your slope looks like this horizontal line right here, it is 0. And if your slope is undefined, it's vertical up and down. So this is supposed to help you remember like what your graph looks like and what kind of slope that should equal. Okay? Your homework assignment is page 347, part 2, and page 360, part 2.